Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. In this time out we have a couple of things actually. Some extra information on Avatar Weiss Schwarz, an extra little bit of an update on some recent action figure news, as well as the October update for the Avatar Legends role-playing game, which is actually somewhat interesting this time out. So let's start off with Weiss Schwarz. This is probably the Avatar upcoming thing that I'm, in a way, like most hyped about. Obviously, there's the new story content, but other than that, in terms of merchandise, Weiss Schwarz Avatar set is definitely something I'm super excited for. I've been wanting an Avatar trading card game for a long time, and like I've said before, Weiss Schwarz is a very good game. So, it really wasn't that much of an update. This is it. We have a visual, which is good, but it doesn't really tell you all that much. So, Bushiroad, who make Weiss Schwarz, had their autumn English showcase, where they basically go over a bunch of the products for Weiss Schwarz, Vanguard, and their other card games that are coming out over the next couple of months, and just gave an update on stuff they'd previously announced. Avatar had a very brief, couple of second long segment where the host basically just made a few Avatar related puns with the elements, roughly got across the idea that, again, it seemed like it was somewhat of a challenge for them to get Avatar, the license I guess, and then they showed off these two kind of preview sneak peek cards. Now immediately you can probably see what the problem is. They are not showing us most of the mechanical stuff about these cards. The only stuff that's left on the card is basically the color of the card, the soul icon, which can sometimes be 2, but in most cards cases it is 1. That might tell us something or other, but otherwise, as you can see here, the level's gone, the cost is gone. I'm assuming the trigger icon is left blank, not to say anything, but if they are lower level cards, they might not even have a trigger icon. That might be something, but no set number, no attack power, no name of the card, none of the tags, and none of the copyright information. So in that sense, all you really get here is Avatar imagery, which isn't even exclusive to Weiss Schwarz, as far as I'm aware, as we'll get into in a second, just in a Weiss Schwarz frame. That's kind of like the problem here with this, is that it's a little like plain. It's cool to see, but it's a little plain given the excitement that there could be if they told us a little more, showed a little bit more variety in the cards. Because obviously, like, Aang is in both cards, and sure, Blue Spirit's in one of them, but like there's so many other characters. Could you not like give us something to just give us a little bit of a better sense about, okay, what characters are going to be in what colors and so on. There's stuff like that I would like to see. In general, it's like cool seeing Avatar in a mock-up card like this, knowing that like it's going to be a full set. That is exciting. It's just immediately like, oh, does this change how I feel going into Avatar Weiss Schwarz? No. And I think that's the problem, is like, it's an update, but it's not really much of an update in that, yeah, this is what Avatar Weiss Schwarz was going to look like, but you've told me otherwise, nothing about it. Like, what rarity are these two cards? Are these from a booster pack? Are these from the trial deck? Are they promo cards? You know, where these two specifically, where am I going to be getting these ones from? How much of Avatar are you covering in the set? Is it just book 1? Because these two cards look like they could be from book 1, but they're promo images, not screenshots from the show, so it doesn't tell us that anyway. So the only thing that we can really take from this is like, okay, book 1 Aang / book 2 Aang, I suppose, but because you have an Aang and the Blue Spirit card, that's leaning you in the direction of book 1, because that's from episode 13. And if you're wondering where the image comes from, if you go to the McFarlane website, you can see here on the back of their Aang vs. Zuko 2-pack of action figures, This very image is right there. Just highlighting that this is a newer image in the sort of like media catalog that Paramount basically has, Avatar Studios has, that licensors can use on cards. And so from this, you can see they're clearly using some of that newer promo, very clean HD art. So far, they are not showing off any like screenshot from the show cards. I don't know what that's going to say about the overall set in terms of, is the quality of ATLA, given that it's an older show, going to be good enough to put on cards? Are they going to keep that to a limit, not put too many of them in, and mostly use the promo stuff? We will see, of course. The tricky thing is, of course, like the card game, the set is going to have to represent aspects of the show. The character cards, which will do most of the attacking, are of course going to be characters and that, but there's going to be event cards that will reference moments from the show. The climax cards, the sideways orientated cards, are going to have to reference specific scenes, I would guess. So they're going to have to at some point be a little bit more specific with some of this stuff. So we know where this one is from. I think I've seen this promo image of Aang before, but I do not remember off the top of my head where it's from. Anything else to say about this before we move on? Other than just, I find it interesting that they had a really obvious thing to do, which was, well, the colors in Weiss Schwarz are yellow, blue, green, and red. You can very easily, for Avatar, split that into the 4 nations. Yellow for air, blue for water, red for fire, green for earth. But the solo Aang card is blue. And then the Aang and Blue Spirit Zuko is yellow. Maybe suggesting that Zuko is in yellow, or non-benders will be in yellow, or something like that. Now, I'm not really sure what they're going to do here. Yes, Weiss Schwarz does have a sense of like color identity, where like they generally have the blue cards have a specific kind of philosophy with the effects that they have. But because of the way Weiss Schwarz works, where like even though it's a 10-plus-year-old card game, Avatar is not going to fundamentally like work with the other sets. Like, you don't build your deck by mixing Avatar together with other anime. Avatar will work on its own and with other Avatar sets if they do them. So it doesn't really matter if they sort of break what the colors do once all the different types of colors are there. Whether they assign it based on like how they look, we'll see what they do. But yeah, this would have told us, I think, a little bit more if it was like Aang with like almost any other character. But because it's like the alter ego version of Zuko, it's hard to say for sure that means Zuko's going to be in yellow. It might be somewhat fitting for the character if they're going to be like, oh, well, he's not the full-on like villain over the course of the entire series. So if they do like Azula, she'll probably be in red and so on. Ultimately, like I said, it's cool to see. It's a visual to show Avatar will be a card game. But what about Avatar fans seeing this for the first time? What did they take away from this that you've left out all of the details? That it's a weird thing. I get that this is, I guess, how they do preview cards when it's very early, but it's a weird look to have even just a blank card like this out there for it, especially if it's people's first time seeing it and they maybe want to play the game. This, for the most part, has gone unexplained in an official capacity from Weiss Schwarz as to like what exactly is going on here. So I just be a little bit more aware of the fact that like Avatar is going to, I think, bring a lot of people into Weiss Schwarz. So I feel you should take a little bit of an approach that has a bit of a more like leans into the beginner aspect of this and kind of includes a little bit more. So I hope they're a little bit more communicative as time goes on. They just said coming soon. They did specify, I suppose, other releases up to about February. I don't think they announced anything with a date that was past February for Weiss Schwarz. So if whenever this is coming out, I'm guessing it will be after February. I'm pretty sure, based on the list of coming soon stuff, Avatar is like next on the list now that doesn't have a date. So it should realistically be the set after, I think, the Kaguya set that's coming out. But we'll have to wait and see. It's an English edition original, so they might do something different. Who knows? Last point on this. The only visual thing about this that I don't like is that the background is the same on both cards. And obviously you can see here, they used the sort of Avatar kind of studios, the kind of new navy style background here with the kind of elements faded into the background, and then some of them a little bit more prevalent. Then they used the more sort of classic kind of sand, tan colored stuff here. But in general, it's the same, because you can see here the fire symbol is very prevalent up here in the corner next to the level and the cost. So it's the same part of a bigger background that they've included as the background for every card, but it's the exact same on every card. And I just don't like that. Even just looking at these two, it looks like the fire symbol is a kind of featured part of the art rather than just a generic background. And obviously, like, what they're using, as you can clearly see in the background that these two cards are on top of, they've taken part of this bigger kind of like background visual, and they've just taken a slice out of it to use as the background for the cards. Just take a different slice. That's the only like kind of constructive criticism I would give, is that I don't think, because a lot of the cards are going to have a little bit of space up here around the corners, because obviously they're a character, so they're for the most part going to be like Aang is here, leaving the sort of the top corners pretty blank. So you can see the fire symbol very, very clearly. But on a lot of cards, like say this one, you don't see any of the other symbols. You can just about see the water symbol in the corner here. You can see it more clearly with Aang here, but he's covering this air symbol here. There's an air symbol here. And then there is no distinct earth symbol on the card, because the slice that they've taken, the earth symbol is like off screen, not in the way. You can see in the background there's an earth symbol here. There's one just here, but there's not on the actual card itself. So all I'd literally be like is like, okay, for this one, it's because it has Zuko in it, I think fire is fine there. But for, like, say Aang, move this over a little bit. Make it so that, like, for instance, like, say you pull it down a little bit, so just that, like, maybe in between his legs you can see the air symbol poking out. It'd be a nice little touch to just not have the wrong symbol be super prevalent in all the cards. Because especially if your deck happens to maybe use a lot of cards with this background, it's going to just feel a little weird that it looks quite notable up in the corner next to the level. Every single one has a fire symbol like right there, and it probably won't be covered by many cards. That's the only criticism I'd have of this background. And the solution is right here, is because you literally just have to use a different section. Like, there's a section here at the start that has the air symbol more in the middle. You can see there's one that has the water symbol more in the middle here. Like, there are options. You can do this. I like that to see a little bit of change there, ultimately. So, yeah, that is that. Next, McFarlane. They seem to have now officially put up a listing for the 4 5-inch figures. So it's actually a 4-pack that they're talking about here, whereas the eBay image that we have from before seems to be 4 like on-card figures. Now, I don't know what the inner packaging of this is going to be like. Is this just a box that actually has 4 kind of on-card figures, or what? Or is this just a set that happens to have the full wave in it? I'm not sure what has happened here. But you can see it's they're calling this the Final Battle figure set. And this helps to explain things a little bit better. Why this wave is because it's meant to represent both of the main final battles from the end of ATLA. Aang versus Ozai, and the Agni Kai between Zuko and Azula. So this explains a few things for sure, like how Azula's outfit has the more kind of, she's about to be Fire Lord kind of theming to it, rather than her usual outfit, which isn't as gold. Whereas I think that was actually a packaging almost error, because it said Book 2 Azula when it more represents Book 3 Azula. Otherwise, like, I think the Zuko looks really good. This is probably the best Zuko face that we've seen. Seems to be a little bit of a disappointment here because it's only one sword, from what I can make out here. By the looks of it, that seems to be a circular handle, and it doesn't look like the sword splits. So that's a bit disappointing. I think, people have problems with this Ozai face. I think it looks okay for the type of villain that Ozai is. It seems cool. I would probably get this if it was available from a retailer in my region. I haven't seen anywhere that has like the previous wave, let alone this wave, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, that's a little bit of extra news here. Then we get into the October update for Avatar Legends role-playing game. I was expecting quite a bit from this because, of course, we have the news from New York Comic Con that I expected them to cover here, but they didn't really. So let's get into it. So they focused this update on the official digital toolkit, the Avatar Legends Nexus. So they've partnered with Demiplane to bring you this, a premier platform offering online tools, source books, and searchable content, campaign builders, and integrated services to discover, prep, and play Avatar Legends role-playing game. It's a series of next-generation tools that make the rules easy to access while giving players new ways to connect and play together. They have a full trailer for this that seems to have narration from Zuko. I'm guessing that Dante Bosco was involved. I just skimmed through it to see what the features actually were and if there was anything like new. So what you have to do here is if you are a Kickstarter backer, you have access to this immediately. It launches today with an early access phase that includes the digital reader, game rules compendium, and group play space features. Additional tools, including a character builder, will be available in 2023. It will go live to everyone on October 26th, but all backers get immediate access. So they go over the details here. So you go into your backer kit, click into your digital items, and you should have a download code at the bottom. You do have to create an account on this website, Demiplane, but then you just enter the code in and you should have access to it. Just while we're here, I did this ahead of time. So this is sort of like the main page for Nexus Avatar Legends. You can see here it just has some images, it has the trailer, redeem code, pre-order the game, and stuff like that. Some read more things, and then you have Explore the Nexus. So you have digital library, playbooks, techniques, and then coming in 2023, character tools. So what seems to be the case here so far is that you get your core book. You can access your core book from your account here. It's basically just an extra place you now own the core book. Similarly, you have the Wan Chi Tong Adventure Guide, as well as the adventures for like all the other that you get. So this is basically all the digital content that is actually available. If we just click into it a little bit here, has this just logged me out because I haven't accessed it in a bit? That's kind of frustrating. I did notice when signing up that the website seemed to be running a little slow, in that like every page, when I'd get to the end of it and like click on something, it never actually I felt like registered the click and just moved me on to the next stage. So I basically just had to kind of keep reloading it as I went through every single stage. Similarly, like here, if we just reload this, will it actually work? Okay, so yeah, okay, it's fine. It's logged me in there, so it seems to still be doing this whole thing. But anyway, so you can see here, like, it gives you a table of contents, and you can just click through to the correct section, and it seems to otherwise just have all the right information here. There is a few things like where, like, when I mention a character for the first time, like, it has their little section that you can sort of scroll down to, but otherwise it does seem like it's just the same content, of course, from the thing. And then you have like the different sections here. So it's just on the website kind of laid out in a way where there's sort of like easier access to all of the different sections rather than having to like control F with the PDF quite a lot. You can see you have the playbooks here, but again, it's just the text laid out. Like I said, I suppose the interesting stuff, the character tools aren't actually like available at the moment. Otherwise, I would have to look into the full details of what actually you do get, because what does it say that you get? Digital reader, so that's basically accessed within the website to the PDFs that you own. Game rules compendium, I think that's just the kind of layout of the rules. Group video play space features, I think that's just what the website demiplane is sort of like actually for, and there's just some sort of an integration in with that. So right now they have like the core of it there if you are at all interested. So if you're a Kickstarter backer, you can get that. They want to know about early access and issues and stuff like that. There's a limit on your codes. The shipping update I was disappointed by, because I didn't feel they said all that much in the previous month's update, and then we get to this one and they don't really say much either. We're right on schedule to deliver all of the rewards by the end of 2022. The remaining materials, mostly books and cards, are now on their way to fulfillment centers across the world. Shipping will begin as soon as our fulfillment partners get the books. The only thing with this is that, like, is there no, like, images to show us of some of this stuff just to make it feel a little bit more real? Or have Magpie themselves not actually, like, seen some of this stuff in a while? That's the only thing. It's just that it feels like they say this because they have to, when they probably could say and show a little bit more. I get it. They, in this case, are basically just saying that, I suppose, stuff is in transit to where it will actually be sent out to you. I just wish they'd say a little bit more than that, because I was expecting like that they'd give a little bit more of an update about how, say, like, you know, people in America should get it like very soon. Different European countries will have to wait a little bit longer because the fulfillment center is here. Just describe that process a little bit more. They say pre-orders are now available. So, you know, the PDF, you can go here to pre-order it. It will ship to arrive January 25th, which from New York Comic Con we know is the release date of the mass release of this. Interestingly, they don't mention the Republic City book. So they don't mention that at New York Comic Con they like announced the Republic City book for summer 2023 and showed off an image. Like, given that this was allowed to go out publicly, I don't get why they can't just say that information here. Especially for like Kickstarter backers, it feels like a weird thing to not say that that information even like exists. Because you can't assume that everyone who's a Kickstarter backer watched what was basically just two people live tweeting that panel to get that information. Look, it's there. I assume they'll say what's going on at some point, but I was honestly expecting them to address that and explain if there would be another Kickstarter for the Republic City supplement, or if it's just going to be a thing where it just gets a public release and that's how you get it. I don't know. Next month we'll see what happens. Let me just refresh this and see if anyone's made any more comments. Comments are usually quite kind to them. Yeah, so far just so normal. And yeah, like you can see, like I did all the stuff I could here, but it's just like, okay, I can read the PDF anyway. There's a thing. I was never going to play the game, so the tools don't matter to me like too much. But they haven't really said much in a month to explain like when I'm going to get it necessarily. So I don't know. Weird one in that I was expecting them to say quite a bit more than they actually said here. But I think that's going to bring the news video here to a close. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on ATLA Weiss Schwarz. What were your thoughts on this kind of like weird update where they showed us something, but they only kind of half showed it because none of the interesting details are actually there on the card. And look, I get it. For collectors who don't really care about the game, you probably just care that they're putting good pieces of art on cards. But I still would have liked a little bit more information. What are your thoughts on this? This is how I guess the official release of these is going to go, with all the characters here, the next wave of McFarlane, and then the October update for the RPG. What are your thoughts on this? But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.